your dreams trying to tell you something? Author M.B. Mosley teaches you how to decode your dreams and take hold of the manifestations that lay in wait for you in the waking realm. Now, broadcasting all over the world, it's the Dream Interpretation Podcast.
Welcome, family. Please be reminded that all dreams are not a one-size-fits-all, and that each dream may be similar, but is contingent upon each individual's waking life. I conduct dream interpretations based upon my waking life as it pertains to my journey here on earth. As for the requests that are emailed to me, I do a general interpretation as I do not know the individual's spiritual and personal waking life. I am so excited. Welcome to Zip Baby Zip. Zip Baby Zip. That's DZIP, the Dream Zone Interpretation Podcast. Share this podcast with your loved ones, guys. I'm so excited to continually teach you all on how to do dream interpretations. I want to hear about it. You can email me at askmemory2019@gmail.com. And we are also dropping new episodes every other Wednesdays as we acclimate into this podcast. And the further out we go in the podcast, we're hoping to drop more episodes, and we're hoping to hear from your requests as well. I'm excited for that. So let's get right into it, folks. Drum roll, please. Grab your pens and paper, and 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to the Dream Zone Interpretation Podcast. I am your host, author, and sister friend, M.B. Mosley, also known as Memory Bengetha Mosley. Welcome, Zip Tribe, hashtag DZIP. Welcome. I hope this podcast finds you doing all well. Grand rising, kings and queens. And I hope this podcast finds you and your family doing well. All right, so let's continue. Let's carry on with our dream interpretation. Now, if you need some dream interpretation, the questions here are laid out on a dream interpretation sheet found at www.memorybengesa.org. And so you could follow along with these questions, and or when you are decoding your dreams, you can use these questions as a map as well to decoding the dreams there. All right, let's get into it. What are we talking about today? So this happened in September 2020. However, we are talking about falling teeth, loose tooth. All right, falling teeth. Looking at the dream interpretation sheet as we decode the messages here. Our first question is, what did you dream about? So I dreamt about a tooth falling out, and that freaked everything out of me, okay? And so the representation, once again, remember, representation / and or cultural spiritual beliefs are a little bit closely connected there. So the representation of the tooth falling out of my mouth was a loss. I lost a tooth. I was like, oh, no, ma'am. I lost a tooth. The dream was surreal. When you get those dreams that are just like real, I don't know, does something to my spirit. All right. So what type of energy was I feeling the instant I woke up? Remember, that's an important part as well to decoding this dream. So I felt a little bit weird, a little bit awkward. Like, of course, I'm going to feel my mouth and make sure my teeth are in there. Okay. And no loose tooth. And so we go to the next question. What type of energy was I feeling in the dream? I didn't feel any nervousness, excitement, or anything like that. It was real, probably would say neutral. I was in the mirror. I mean, we're going to describe the dream next. So I didn't have I wasn't anxious that my tooth was loose. I wasn't confused that my tooth was loose. I wasn't freaking out that my tooth was loose. I just didn't like the feeling when I woke up. Just thinking about the dream. That was the most energy I felt about that dream itself. However, in the dream itself, I was regular. I was neutral. All right. So what are the cultural and spiritual beliefs behind the dream, right? And or if there's no cultural or spiritual beliefs, there goes Alexa. Didn't even mention Alexa in any of this conversation. And then sometimes she just comes on. And I'm like, are you recording my conversations with myself? All right, so I digress. Okay, so list everything. So if there's no cultural spiritual belief, remember, representation of the theme of the dream itself could suffice, right? Losing the tooth, falling off teeth. A loose tooth, falling off teeth. You're losing something that, was in your mouth. Something that belongs to you, you're losing it. Something near and dear. My teeth are near and dear. I need them to chew. They got stuff around that. But anyways, let's go on. All right, so let's go to the next part. List everything you see in the dream. So in that dream, I was in the bathroom. It was all white. And I was leaning in over the sink a little bit because I was looking at the mirror and I was using my thumb and my index finger just to feel my tooth. And it was feeling really, really, really loose. And I released from feeling the tooth as I was looking in the mirror. And that tooth just came flying. It just went into the sink. And then I just, disclaimer, we're going to get a little bit gruesome here. Disclaimer, we're going to get a little bit gruesome here. Disclaimer, we're going to get a little bit gruesome here. Okay, so I've done the disclaimer. All right, so the tooth just came falling out and boom, there was some blood in the sink. That still didn't freak me out. I wasn't like nervous. I wasn't anxious. It was just like it was just happening. It was weird. It was just like seamless. Like there was no energy behind that whole entire part. Just when I woke up, as I stated before, I felt super weird about that. All right. So now the next question is, where are you in the dream or what are you doing doing? And so I did describe, I'm in the bathroom. I was wiggling the bottom of the tooth there because it felt loose or something like that. And then it tumbled down into the sink. A little bit of blood was there. All right. So now, what colors and or numbers do you see in the dream, if any? All right. So the sink is white. The bathroom is white. And of course, red for the blood is what I saw. All right. So we move on to the next set of questions here. How does the color meaning or symbolize the symbolization of the color fit in with your waking life? All right. So white, once again, we always go into this conversation that the symbolisms of colors and or numbers can mean a variety of things. However, it's upon you now in your waking life to, as you decode the dream, to put the symbolism that fits with your waking life. All right. And so white for the sink, the bathroom is white, the sink is white, and white has a variety of symbolisms. The color white can symbolize a whole lot, a plethora of things. However, at this time, I know for myself, spiritual awakening can be represented with white. I was having a spiritual awakening of sorts, and wholeness. A feeling of wholeness, and there would have been a knowledge there that I was feeling. So knowledge, spiritual awakening, wholeness, part of the white, purity, all these things flow in with the color white plus more. However, these are some of the words that are befitting to me at that moment. As we decode this dream, we'll find out why. Now, the red part of the blood symbolizes a whole lot as well. But for me, in that moment, it pertains to power, dominance, and action. So now let's go ahead and decode this dream. And my dream in particular was losing the one tooth. And for others, they lose a whole mouthful of teeth, fall out. So, and some teeth, not all fall out. However, for me particularly, it was one loose tooth that fell out, that left the whole tooth clan and was like, goodbye. All right, so let's go ahead and decode. We've answered the questions above here on the dream interpretation sheet. And so now let's go ahead and decode and place this in a sentence or a paragraph as it pertains to our waking life. And this is what was going on in my life a little bit. Remember this also, when you get to the sentence / paragraph part, you have to do an inventory of yourself, right? See what's going on around you. What have you been going through? How's this week treating you? What's going on in the last couple of months? What has been going on in this past year or in the current year with you? And that may have led to some of these revelations through or probably sometimes needing the guidance from the spiritual realm. Look around you. Perhaps the last couple of 5 months, you were feeling really sad or depressed and needed something to comfort you about a situation, just as spoken about in the last couple of dream interpretations. There were the tornado dream, though it may be a tornado, but comfort and peace came out of that. Some comfort and peace that was much needed in my waking life, because out around my energy bubble there in my waking life was some chaos happening that was unbearable. So be able to do that inventory with yourself. And so let's go on here as we decode this dream. We got all the points written down. And now I have to look at my waking life at that moment. So it is at this moment in time where I had taken action through the knowledge that a particular individual was toxic. All right. I wrote wiggling tooth. I knew for a while that the relationship was not fruitful and I had to make a painful decision to pluck it out like I painstakingly did my bottom tooth. Okay. So there goes the metaphor and the representation in that dream. It had been a long time coming event of a very, 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 very close individual. However, the relationship had always been one-sided, okay? However, as I was growing in my spirituality and as the spiritual awakening proceeded, the knowledge and wisdom came about for me to be whole within myself. Finally, I'm at this time and point in my life where I cannot, blame the elements, which sometimes are justify, not justify the means. It's so easy to want to say justify the means, but sometimes it's easy to justify that. Take, for instance, let's say there's some situations that could get into or get in the middle of our spiritual awakening process and or sometimes, interfere with that process. We cannot control elements such as perhaps work atmospheres that are unhealthy or toxic. Until you find another place and or perhaps you're making do and just focusing on yourself, staying in your energy bubble. However, that environment itself is not conducive to your whole entire being during that spiritual awakening, if that makes sense. So here I was looking at it, this person, while I'm on this journey, I'm realizing something that, I had tolerated a lot. It was a one-sided relationship. They definitely were metaphorically like the loose tooth, that needed to it was time to get rid of that. And so let's carry on. This person was not fruitful. The energy was toxic. And when I do mention toxic / unhealthy, for me at the time, the journey that I was choosing, have you ever had people that call you? Okay, so let's say you're like, okay, I got this, yes, mind, body, and soul. I'm you're guarding your energy bubble, and you're just vibrating on a high vibration, and you're flowing with everything. You're indulging in positivity itself. You're listening to positive audios, reading positive books. You're about that life, right? And then you have an individual or maybe individuals in your life, perhaps not, that will call you and seem to just bring down your vibration. Sometimes just by looking at the number itself, you're like, what do they want? You already know. Okay. And then you answer the phone and then the person, all they proceed to talk about is themselves. Don't even ask you how you're doing. How's your family? How's life? What are you doing? What you been up to? But it's all about them. Them. And then, and as they proceed to themify themselves, then they're talking about everyone else that has nothing to do with you. So now you are in a gossip session that you didn't sign up for because you're listening to them. And by the time you get done with that conversation, your energy is just depleted. Yeah, granted, you didn't start the gossip. Granted, you didn't call them, but depleted. Then you're just sitting there asking yourself, why do I even talk to this person? Oh, because they're family. Just kidding. Sometimes it's like that. So that is where I was at this point with this person, and I could see the relationship to this dream itself. And so in this paragraph space, it is at this moment in time where I had to take action through the knowledge, through the knowledge that a particular individual was toxic. The wiggling of the tooth, I knew for a while that the relationship was not fruitful, and I had to make the painful decision to pluck it out like I painstakingly did my bottom tooth. The bathroom is an intimate space. Therefore, the relationship to this person was one very close for years. That is why it had to be done to close that chapter. Yes, it was very close. It was a family member. And so the mirror represents me looking into my soul, and in this journey honoring myself. Okay, it was a hard decision because you love your family, you love everyone around it, but I tell you what, after I did my time at the joint, okay, of the employment for close to 15 years, and what I had been through and exposed through, I was trying to do my work, and I'm still am trying to soul focus, keep the vibration high now that I'm in a space where I could do that. So the last thing I wanted was a person reminding me of the unhealthy environments, the whole bickering, the whole cattiness, the whole gossipy nature of it all, and the whole backstabbing. And let me tell you something, if you ever are around people that love to talk about other people when the other people are not around you, then understand that they're talking about you too. I hope you know that. So if you're sitting up there entertaining and co-signing a conversation that's got everything to do with everyone else, like this, them type of people, they could be, in my case, it was family members. They want to sit up there and talk about the rest of the siblings. Like, no, I don't like that. I don't. My siblings are not here to defend themselves, right? And so therefore, I can't sit up here and listen to this conversation, because I know that as much as you're talking about the entire siblingship, you're going to do the same about me with them. And then the worst part about people that talk about other people when those other people are not there, then the worst part about it is to wonder if they have nothing to say, what will come out. These are some people that will start making up stuff, because these are people that like drama and chaos and disruption. So therefore, it's not too far-fetched that the next thing they know, even if you don't, some in my mind at that time was like, well, I'm not feeding any information about me, so nothing juicy here. But at the same time, some people are driven by the narrative of drama, chaos, and disruption that, they will end up making some stuff just to keep it salacious. I came from an industry like that, just cattiness, gossipy, just malicious. I've discussed the fact that at one time I was like, I need to make a podcast about leadership. Just the confessions of a leader. Let me tell you something. You will be amazed. As a leader, I knew everyone's business, everyone's personal business. What I'm saying is, I didn't go ask if Shelby's having issues with her husband at home and she didn't tell me, then why are you telling me? You see what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like it's as if people come to tell you about every single person's business so that, I don't know, maybe they think they were cool or whatever it is, but it was just like, and what was crazy, I know I digress often, but listen, what was crazy, here I am. What's crazy is it's crazy. It's like I said, at the end of the year, everyone's business, right? Because this one here comes, she befriends that one. Be careful, those coworkers. They befriend each other. All of them did it. They befriended each other. I would know about this girl's home situation because she befriended this girl, and the girl she befriended would tell me about her, and the girl she was friends with would tell me about her. You see how the circle goes, and then over here they would tell me about this one, and this one would tell me about this one, and this one would tell me, like, I don't know. Like, honestly, I've always just really been one of those mind your own business. Like, if you want to tell me about what's going on in your situation, you tell me what's going on in your situation. I know how to keep it secret. Like, that goes with the loyalty that I painstakingly have. But but the thing was, like, it wasn't a matter of, because it was the work environment. So I'm not, your boss is not deep in your stuff. Like, you cannot be in people's business like that. And it wasn't even a desire of mine to be in people's business unless they brought it to me. Right. And then it was my responsibility to hold that. If you bring me your situation, I hold it, because obviously you told me. Then besides, you can't, in that situation, there's no one to go gossip with. You know what I mean? Because then you're gossiping with employees, and that's just weird and awkward. But I say this to say, so there was a whole bunch of all that wahala going on where everybody, it was always I knew about people's situations without ever inquiring. That's why when I say some things had to go and I was done with that part, I was done with that. Like, I used to like in the leadership role there at that time as being an adult babysitter. Like, just people complaining. You'd be amazed. The human nature is interesting. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But it was just an interesting observation. It's like, to get to the top or to get some places, people will literally backstab each other, talk about each other. And I was amazed at the degree of fakeness, like just smiling in each other's faces, but didn't like each other. And then because they're here feeding me information, and I wasn't quite sure what that information was supposed to do. Like, I never looked at individuals based on gossip. Based on what I was being fed, that was not part of it. It was business. Business is business. There's no personal, or what they do at home is what they do at home. But it was crazy. Anyways, I digress. We're talking about this situation, and I wanted to highlight the fact and the reason why I was on a certain train and just trying to move that train of positivity and deepen and go deeper with my spiritual awakening and becoming whole, but my whole mind, body, and soul, and really wanting to vibrate on that highest vibration that I could possibly vibe on. And so during this time, I noticed that I had slowly moved away from certain elements. However, there was this one person here that in which this revelation was coming through. So the mirror represents me looking into my soul and in the journey honoring myself. When you're looking into the mirror and you look into your eyes, you're looking into your soul. And I didn't want to dishonor myself by being, because at first you tell yourself, well, I'll just pick up the phone and don't say anything, just listen. But how long do you do that for? Then you become someone's crutch, right? If they're a needy person or codependent person, how long do you keep that up for? So I'm looking at myself there in the mirror as the tooth, loosening it up, looking into my soul in this journey to honor myself. In this journey, in this journey of true self. Okay, and so the red blood represents me taking action and or power of my energy bubble, right? And the sink represents cleansing, a place where we wash away unwanted dirt, perhaps saying goodbye for good to that chapter of my life as it pertains to the unhealthy relationship with that person. So we took all the points that we wrote up here in the dream interpretation, and when you dream. And so this is what this is what I got pertaining to my waking life and to the steps that were happening, especially around about that time that I had that dream. So perhaps yours is not exactly as the loose tooth that I had that I lost. Perhaps it's a mouth full of teeth falling out. Perhaps it's a few teeth falling out. Remember, the representation of teeth coming out is a loss. Now you have to dig deeper into your waking realm and decipher what is it that you're losing. That's personal. That the tooth is coming out of your mouth. Those teeth are coming out of your mouth. What is it that's deep-seated rooted? Teeth are deep-seated rooted into our gums. So what is it that in your waking life that you are either losing? Okay, because that's where I caution and heed people to be a little bit sensitive to their waking life. Perhaps it's a couple going through a divorce or nearing a divorce, or maybe perhaps they're realizing the marriage is stale, no longer, perhaps it's just an example, because I want to give as many examples as I can, because sometimes it doesn't always symbolize a loose tooth, losing something negative. Yes, going for something positive. Sometimes it could be something near and dear. Look to the symbolisms, the metaphors, and understanding that losing teeth, losing a tooth is a representation of loss. So what is it in your waking life that may be personal, deep-seated, rooted connection that you may be losing or are losing, and or maybe spirit world is trying to say, take heed, take heed. Take heed. So I love you guys so much. Remember that you want to take the representation of the dream and apply it to your waking life in all honesty. You owe it to yourself to honor yourself in true self, to honor yourself through your true self by decoding your dream according to your waking life to get the messages as it pertains to the spiritual dream realm. I love you guys so much. And remember, if you want the dream interpretation sheet, these are free questions. The sheet is going to be continually improved. However, you can find this sheet at www.onewordmemorybengesa.org, and you'd go to the blog post. That's where I was able to post the sheet up at, is the blog post off the website. I love you all. Stay blessed.
For God speaks in one way and or in two, though man does not perceive it. He speaks in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men while they slumber on their beds. Happy dreaming.